Good evening, everybody. Steve Wellings here. Midweek pod special, impromptu pod special even. Who knows what we're going to talk about? You never know. We might talk a bit of Triple G against Steve Rolls later, old sausage rolls. But first of all, we're going to get stuck on with the heavyweights. Breaking news today, which we couldn't let go, could we? A bit of intense beef, probably. More positive testing beef, tainted beef, you might even call it. We're trying to get to the bottom here. Me and Andy, by the way. I'm Steve Wellings. Andy's on the call as well. Expecting Aussie to join us very shortly. Shout out to all you in the chat, all you listening on YouTube, everybody at home as well, and on Twitter. We're trying to get to the bottom of this Jarrell Miller situation. We believe that he's tested positive, so some kind of substance, GW1516, it's saying in front of me. And you're probably wondering what on earth that is. Well, me and Andy were just going through the archives, going through the interwebs, trying to work out exactly what Jarrell Miller has tested positive for. Well, according to the Australian government, Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority, an article that Andy has sourced for me here, it says that GW1516 is popular but deadly. So Jarrell Miller's fists might be deadly. His talk might be deadly, but this is a deadly substance that he's tested positive for. Cardarine and Endurobal, it says, was originally developed in the 1990s as a treatment for diabetes, obesity, and cardiovascular disease. So it's all checking out so far. It was discontinued, Andy, in 2007 after it was linked to the rapid development of cancer during trials on mice. So it says here, it works by forcing skeletal muscle to use fat rather than carbohydrates as an energy source. We're getting to the crux of it now. Used by some for fat loss in the context of athletic enhancement. GW1516 also has benefits as an endurance aid. So if we're going off this, it's all starting to tick a few boxes, isn't it, Andy, as to why Jarrell Miller might be using this, if indeed he is.
If it's a diuretic, why not just go and use clenbuterol and then you start complaining about contaminated meat, use the Canelo excuse, for example. It's just everything I've read, it states that, this stuff that he's been banned for, it's highly, dangerous stuff. Cancer, on rats, mice, and stuff like that. So they've done the clinical trials and all that type of thing. And I'm not talking as some sort of expert here in that, but everything that I'm reading online, it's an endurance booster. It's getting abused by athletes. We're talking cyclists, endurance walkers, people who do that big, that tersa, that race across Morocco. I forget the name of it. Sablis, I think it's pronounced.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean.
They use that stuff to try and get across there as well. And, everything I'm reading clearly kind of states that you can only buy it one place, and it's on the black market. So he's willingly and knowingly took that stuff. So unless he can provide a legit prescription, I would say, to say that I've got a legit problem here for a drug that seems to be discontinued by every proper health agency in the world, I would probably say, and he still gets positive for it. We've now since found out that he's not been granted a license by the New York State Athletic Commission, which, considering their past, you cannot blame them. So the hunt's now on for an opponent. Who it's going to be? We've got a couple of names, but I think everything's going to point towards Michael Hunter at this point. What a story that would be, though, eh? What a story that would be, to go from Martin Piccoli to Anthony Joshua in 2 fights.
Well, good luck to Michael Hunter if indeed it happens. How on earth they're going to sell a Michael Hunter pay-per-view to the people in the UK? Obviously, DAZN in America don't do pay-per-view, so there's no particular issue there. But they wanted a better opponent than this. I wasn't particularly enamoured by the prospect of AJ fighting Jarrell Miller, but I'd sort of got used to it. I'd got my head around it, and I was accepting of it. And I think it's a disappointing turn of events. Not only has he popped and the issue of drugs has reared its ugly head in boxing again, and the wider point that how many of these people are using, how many of these people are getting caught, it really is starting to become a major issue at the top of the sport. And people who aren't interested in boxing now will start saying, oh, I'm not watching boxing anymore. The old thing they used to say, it was fixed all the time. People are taking dives all the time. They're just going to say everybody's on drugs all the time now. It's shitting on the sport, and it's tainting the name of the sport for one. But I was getting used to the fact that Miller was going to fight Joshua. I wouldn't. Maybe I was looking forward to it a little bit. I maybe was looking forward to it a bit, Andy. I was saying, you know what? This fat lad can talk a bit. He's been accusing Joshua of using PEDs. He's getting in his face. He's cussing his mom. He's doing all the right things. And then the big fat lump fucking gets tested But positive, no, we're going to have a replacement opponent. It's really starting to annoy me now, the more I think about it.
I actually cannot believe you're genuinely pissed off at this, by the way, because, see, me, I'm not, obviously, it would be far easier for me to sit here and take the piss out of Joshua fans who have been ripped off on that flight across there, and they've done their hotel money and their ticket money, possibly, but you're still going to get a fight by the looks of it. And just go for the weekend, just go and have a good time in that. But I'm no bothered. At the end of the day, you got Fury fighting Tom Schwartz, right? That's bad enough. I know what you're saying. I suppose at the end of the day, if the fight still went ahead, it would be good for the fact that you would see a juiced up fighter, But now we know why he's nimble on his feet and stuff, and he was getting all that praise. People are saying he's a good heavyweight for such a size and stuff. Of course, he was on the fucking peds. I don't know if this is the first time he's did the VADA testing or whatever and that, but at the same time, the testing is getting, it's getting very good. I mean, for example, we'll take the John Jones thing up. I mean, apparently he got caught on a drug test that apparently if you took a grain of salt and cut it up to, honestly, I can't remember, something like 25 million particles or something like that. That is how that little grain. That's what they caught John Jones on. That is the sensitivity of these tests. So why people still try to kind of get around about it and stuff like that? Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not used. I think he's bought that off the black market by the looks of it. Or someone says in the chat that he's going to blame his dietitian. Oh, I didn't know anything about it, right? So to go and do it, I mean, that's what Larry O did. Larry O went and bought his shit for China. And what happened was someone found the sale online, alerted the authorities, who then let the British board know about it, and that's how they end up catching Larry O. So it's just diced me. Definitely, as you say, I mean, the clinical trials are stating, animals are contracting cancer off this shit, and you're doing it for so what? You're willing to take cancer, possibly somebody about 20, 30 years later for what? $7 million? Are you fucking serious?
I know he's just destroyed his payday and everything now, and he didn't even get caught with the blood test. It was a piss test, man. He's either naive or thick as shit. I don't know which. But anyway, if you're listening on Twitter, hit me up if you want to come on, or if you want to add any questions or say anything. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Same for you. Drop me a DM on Twitter or an email, or ring me or send me a letter in the post or something if you want to come on the chat. We'll be going for about half an hour or so, not too long. We just thought we wanted to just jump on this tonight and have a chat about it. As I say, Aussie's racing back to try and get on the call as well. Shout out to Foxby in the chat, Johnny Blaze, Chris Bray's in there, Banana Rama, a few of the usual faces. A few faces I haven't seen before. Crowbert79, Terry MC. Yeah, Foxby says he's thick, definitely thick. He must be thick, mustn't he? Foxby, you'd rather go out, wouldn't you, and get his fat ass knocked out for $7 million, made for life, thank you very much, instead of going out and trying to cheat and even having why doesn't he just say, okay, I'm a big fat useless waste of space, I'm not going to beat Joshua, so I might as well just go out and get laid out for $7 million anyway. But no, he's tried to cheat in an effort to beat Joshua, Andy. I'm sure you can see the point I'm trying to make here. And he's going to end up with absolutely nothing. People were saying to me on Twitter earlier, it may be the B sample. I think Matt Russell or somebody was saying the B sample might come back clean or whatever. But Lance Pugmire has tweeted about half an hour ago, breaking: the New York State Athletic Commission has denied Big Baby Miller the license application to fight Anthony Joshua on June the 1st at the Garden. So Joshua is searching now. The search for a new opponent begins. We were saying this earlier, Andy. There's no way the New York State Athletic Commission, with all their stringent checks in place, are going to turn around and sanction this guy. No. This is the organisation that really recently brought in rules that you had to have like $1 million bond or something, insurance, if you were going to put on a show. It was killing all the small hall shows. Only the likes of Bob Arum and that could afford it. This is the same commission that had the rule in where if you looked like you were shaky after a knockdown, you had to do this walk back and forward and, all the piss tests and all this type of stuff. They're not going to turn around and say, oh, that's okay, Baby Miller, we'll just give you a license anyway, just in case, and somebody goes and gets, dramatically injured and have the blood on their hands. There's no way this guy's going to fight now, surely.
Well, they could have did Eric Morales keep testing him until he tested negative.
Until he pisses it out of his system.
Yeah, basically. Take about 3 days, just to basically get out. But I think Lance Pugmire has also tweeted as well from Eddie Hearn. Miller's license has been denied. He can reapply on any new developments. So I'm assuming that's maybe the B sample coming back negative. But I think he's done, because Hearn's basically basically confirmed that they're likely going to need a new opponent. 6 weeks to go. It's going to be nothing special. But as you say, Miller, I mean, you talk that shit, you talk about, what was it you said about somebody's mum again buying them a house or something? What was that again? Or paying the rent or something?
He said some. Didn't he say that Joshua's mom was a fat oil spill or something at one point? He's come off with some right nasty stuff, hasn't he, in the build-up?
Well, that's funny. I actually found that a wee bit funny. But he's just what a fucking idiot. I mean, seriously. I mean, you just threw away the biggest payday you're likely ever going to get or ever see again. For what? Just to kind of get a couple of pounds off, just to kind of get the blood endurance boosted a little bit. It's see a few years back, I was actually pure raging when Wilder and Povetkin got called off, right? Because I thought it was a test that Wilder really needed it at that point. I'm not surprised anymore because I've said it long before. If you're not on it, you're not going to win. It's that simple. When you get to this level of the sport, the amount of money involved, you need to be absolutely fucking stupid not to be on it. If you're not on it, then you're on something for the recovery because you're training. Again, I'm not saying anything new here. I've said it before. These guys sometimes go to train 3 times a day just to try and maintain the weight. Sometimes, for example, or they like to work out 3 times. You go to try. You cannot tell me they can recover over the course of the next 8 hours for proper sleep. Wake up, revitalise that. Of course, they're going to be taking something to kind of get themselves over a 8, 12-week camp sometimes. Even worse if you're trying to make weight. Oh, man, come on. Some guys really do it by the book and stuff like that, but as I say, if you are the elite, you've got to be suspicious. I mean, I need to go and pull up the records and stuff like that to see who has failed drug tests. Maybe they say in the top 10 pound for pound, but you've got Canelo on there, for example. I don't know anybody else at the minute who's top 10 usually would be pound for pound. Lomachenko's okay. Crawford seems to be okay. Usyk's passed tests. I don't know who else is on there, but
Errol Spencer's had sort of accusations, veiled accusations thrown at him. There's nothing proven. I'm not saying anything, but I mean, people are mentioning in the chat and also on Twitter and that Andy Luis Ortiz. Are we forgetting as well Ortiz? I mean, how are we comfortable with this? Tell me in the chat if you think I'm wrong here. But Ortiz has talked about coming in as well. He's obviously failed tests in the past. Povetkin was even mentioned at one point. Obviously, Joshua's already beaten him, so that's freaking pointless. Again, a guy who got an opportunity against Joshua, got an opportunity against David Price, having failed drugs tests. Is this just the norm? Do we just accept this now?
I think so. That's just accept the fact that most of these people are on drugs. I mean, obviously, it's going to be absolutely gutting if it's one of your most favourite fighters and he gets positive and stuff, but I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised and stuff. I know you're gutted, mate, because you really want to see this fight for some odd reason. That's just.
I don't know why, Andy. I've just found these emotions since I come on the call with you. I didn't know they were hiding away before we started this pod.
Well, I'll need to.
I'm surprising myself as much as anybody listening.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say to you because of it.
But I mean, it was a shit fight. Fair enough. People was shitting on it, but I'd made peace with it. I was accepting it. And we're not even going to get a shit fight now. We're going to get a shit fight.
So they talk about Luis Ortiz. I mean, where's Tony Bellew, for example? I mean, he needs to put his comments out on this. I mean, does Jarrell Miller deserve to be stoned to death? There's a question. There's a question. What is the punishment for him now? I mean, because obviously, America's the Wild West. You've got to apply from state to state to state to get a license to fight in any state anyway. There's no license to fight in America. You got to go to the state. I mean, fuck, you and I could go to a state office just now and get a license for like a chief setting without even fucking having to sit any tests. That's how fucking easy it is over there. But, would other commissions fall in there and say like, okay, you're banned for because VADA are not going to ban them. They just basically report the findings. If it was USADA, they might force the issue. I don't know, but.
He'll get another shot. He'll get another chance. He'll get another chance. I don't doubt that for a second because boxing is a sport of second chances. If there's money to be made, he'll serve some kind of a ban, or by the time this is all folded and found its way out, the year will probably be over. He'll be back in the ring. I don't doubt that. But it's the pay. He'll never get another payday like this. People won't. I don't think they'll touch him. I don't think he'll be able to put him in himself. He won the lottery when he got this opportunity against Joshua. He talked his way into the opportunity. DAZN, John Skipper, wanted the big name. They wanted to bring in the subscribers. They wanted Joshua to fight somebody decent, who could talk, who could sell a fight in America. He fitted the bill. He's from Brooklyn, isn't he? This fight's taking place in New York. He fitted the bill. He's not going to get another opportunity now. I don't think they'll be wanting him to besmirch their name on these channels. But what I cannot understand, and I go back to it again, is how he has weighed up the risk against reward here. And he said to himself, I think I've got a genuine chance of winning this fight if I get on some kind of substance. And he has taken that balancing act, that gamble, that he thinks he can knock Joshua out and then collect the rewards afterwards. He would have been better off saying, I am not going to even chance this payday. I'm not going to risk it at all. I'm going to go in. If I get my big fat ass knocked out, then at least I walk away with $7 million or whatever it is. And I'm going to give myself the best chance I can off any kind of performance-enhancing drugs. So if he's turned around and said, I'm going to give myself a better chance by going on these things and taking that risk, then he's thick as shit.
Yep. I'm just wondering, when was the actual... Does anybody know when Miller was actually informed? Because I'm assuming it was just recently, because this test that he failed was actually taken on the 20th of March. That's almost 4 weeks ago. So
nearly a month.
Has Eddie been aware of this? It's just coming to light now, and they knew the scrum for an opponent, or is it taking VADA that length of time to get the test done? The test that they got to do, they probably just don't hit it with like a sodium test, for example. I dare say they hit it with like a few other things, things that are way above my pay grade. So, and they've just found the results today. So, and here we are. It's just shit, isn't it? It's just I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is the heavyweight division. It's odd enough today because people throw shade at Joshua. He's never failed a test. Yet you've got Fury. That's new Miller. Who else we got in the heavyweight division that's failed a test?
Ortiz, Fury, like you say, another elephant in the room that was never cleared up.
Povetkin, Manny
Char, yeah. Marius Wack, didn't he as well?
Yeah, I think he did. Trying to think who else. Well, I suppose you should have done what Charles Martin did. Get paid and then fucking smoke the blunts and that, and say I walk like this god, this like a god, basically, But
at least he did the drugs after he got the payday. Miller could have gone off and frigging snorted all the clenbuterol he wanted after he got paid.
He could have done. He could have done anything he wanted, mate. He could have pensioned his mom off. He could have had so many kids. He could have gave all that money to charity. He could have fucking saved lives with all that money if he wanted to. And he's just throwing it all away over a fucking black market substance that clearly was on the fucking watch and ban list by all the drug testing authorities. It's clearly been reported by all the drug testing authorities that it's clearly dangerous. You shouldn't be using it. And this idiot decides to go and get it and use it. It's just, it defies belief. But as I say, when the stakes are high and the money's so big, he would do anything, I suppose, to make sure he, it was a big opportunity. Take all the chances, all the roids that you want. Go back to the Pride days. What do you want to see? You want to see jacked up monsters kick and fuck at each other in absolute wars, or do you want a level playing field? It's just hard to police. They're always one step ahead, and the drug test authorities are always like 2 or 3 behind. But in the end, they will catch up with you. In the end, if they go back and retest all frozen samples and that, and say 5 years' time, I dare say some of the champs running about the new, and that would be getting caught.
I wouldn't doubt it, Andy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying this midweek special. If you want to see any more, hit the thumbs up. Let's get up to 50 thumbs up, shall we, everybody, before we close out tonight. Ozzy's with us. Let's get on to him very shortly. First of all, Tosh is in the chat. He said, good shout, Andy. 2-year ban. Swaggy Taggy's looking for us. He said a 6-month ban and fight in the sticks. Yeah, that's probably more like it. Banana Rama says, Big Baby versus Cash Ali. Flip me, could you imagine that? Cash Ali be trying to eat him. Big Baby be trying to eat him as well. That would be some affair. Jane Johnson says, time to step your transsexual game up. Please, Steve. I am trying. Sorry about the rage tonight. I've had a tough day and Jarrell's really started to annoy me. Take That Tiger says, lab results within 2 weeks of the test. Fighter informed with a week after that. So we believe Jarrell Miller would have known for quite a while. And Eduardo was told last night, somebody else put as well. Quite a lot talking about the football. Sorry to be interrupting your football chat with a bit of boxing tonight. AJ versus Takam 2 says Lewis Farrakhan TV. And Callum B says bunch of dossers. Yeah, so there you go. Ozzy, how are you feeling on the whole thing? We haven't really talked about potential opponents just yet, but we were talking about the whole... it's not clenbuterol, is it? What was it again, Andy? Endurable or something, I think you call it, don't you? GW1516.
Yeah, Endurable, and there was another name of it, sorry, I forget. I just closed the article, didn't there, actually. I was finished reading it, sorry.
Ozzy, I don't know where you stand on my opinion. I seem to be really annoyed for some reason. I'm even surprising myself here, but I don't understand why Jarrell Miller... if indeed he's guilty, and it seems like he is, he's out of the fight as far as everyone seems to be confirming, how he's weighed up all the options and decided that this is the way to go. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I thought it came across as a real shock. Woke up this morning and saw it on social media and things like that. That Edward had tweeted saying that the sample had come back and it had failed. Flagged up for PEDs. And I thought it was a parody account at first, because that's something you would expect, particularly after the mouthing off that Jarrell Miller had given about how Joshua has use exemptions for testosterone and things like that. Then he gets caught on the PEDs himself. Bizarre. But I agree what Andy said. When the stakes are so high, people will push the boundaries and do as much as they can. And in reality, it's like anything else, essentially, drink driving and stuff like that. You'd never think you will get caught. And Jarrell Miller has clearly done something. He felt like he won't get caught. And his huge payday is completely gone unless it's somehow salvaged. Just saw a tweet then that the commission have refused to give him a license.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why they're looking at a license now when the fight's in June. I mean, it's particularly in America, people can only get a license the week before, so I wouldn't read too much into that at the moment. But all in all, a real shock, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go now, because it's not as if like it's in the UK and they can pull whoever over because basically he can sell against fighting against a cow. He's in new territory. I genuinely believe Miller was an opponent that, whilst I don't think it would have been that competitive, he had a mouth, and I think there was a bit of US appeal there. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do now, and it will test. I mean, I've seen some of the names like Manuel Char, and I mean, that's just unthinkable. What a waste of time that would be, seeing Manuel Char in with Anthony Joshua.
What about Frez?
Well, yeah.
Time is now, isn't it, for Frez? This is Frez's time.
To be fair, yeah, more than happy to see Frez Oquendo get an opportunity. I think, do you know what? This is an opportunity he's been waiting for. He's been out in the wilderness, battling hard, struggling to get anyone to step into the ring with him. Now, Frez, I've no doubt the phone has already gone off a number of times, and he's probably in camp right at this moment, working hard and ready for the big night in June.
Out of all the realistic names then, Ozzy, someone in the chat just mentioned Dillian Whyte was another one who failed a test early on in the career as well, so that's another one we can add to the list. Realistically speaking, White says he'll jump in. Ortiz, it's not going to be anybody like Ortiz, I wouldn't have thought. Not even Dillian Whyte at this short notice.
Put his name in the hat.
It's going to be, I think, they're talking about Michael Hunter, but Jesus, that's going to be a hard sell, I think, to people, especially in the UK who are having to pay for it. But Kovnachi ticks the boxes. Eddie has mentioned him as well. He's had him on the cards before. He's the whitest man in world boxing. He can punch a little bit. He has a bit of activity, a bit of personality about him, and he'll bring the Polish crowds as well. So I would say, and I wouldn't be completely averse to Kovnachi, to be honest, compared to some of the other options, though.
Fearon will love that fight, by the way.
That seems a logical option. I think we can rule out, in my opinion anyway, we can rule out any Brits, because why does it make sense about having two Brits headline in America on pay-per-view, particularly in the UK, which will be at 2-3 o'clock in the morning?
Good point.
It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And Hearn knows that he could bring Joshua White to Wembley in September and it sell an absolute fortune. I mean,
he could have done it there in April, but he couldn't fucking deliver it because he lowballed White.
No, well, I know.
My date in September.
Well, I mean, Dillian Whyte said he wants that a certain amount of time. I mean, it's interesting he's saying it now. I mean, what does it give him for? Yeah, about 8-9 weeks. I'll be shocked. I personally can't see it anyway. I think Kalnaki is the best. I think, yeah, he's from New York as well, isn't he? So naturally, all roads point to him. If they can't make it, I mean, Michael Hunter would be a difficult sell. Plus,
he's a cruiserweight.
Yeah, he is. He's not a big bloke either.
He gave Usyk a good fight, Cougs.
Well, yeah, that's what it would be sold on. What would be class if someone like Alexander Usyk piped up and said, "Right, fuck Carlos Takam, I'll take this fight straight away."
He would take it too, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I know he would. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I feel they need to proceed with the date. I can't. They need to get some sort of opponent in. I think they will do. It isn't a shock to see loads of heavyweights saying they'll get involved. Of course not. It's a multi-million-pound payday. Regardless if they think they'll win or not, it will pretty much set them up for life. But I think Kalnaki is probably the most logical in terms of location, profile, if you were to call it. After that, I can't see him take it. Ortiz would be a nice surprise. It would be a nice surprise, but again, I can't see it personally, and I would rule out any Brits because it doesn't make sense whatsoever, like I said before, to have two Brits headlining in America in the middle of the night on pay-per-view.
Ant has mentioned Trevor Bryan, Gary Cornish rematch being thrown in as well. Yeah, Sleep 99, Andy's mentioning a good point, something that I haven't looked into enough, but Kovnachi is out, says Sleep 99.
Yeah, so I heard.
The PBC have promised him a shot at Wilder next, I reckon. I did hear something a few months ago that Kovnachi had maybe not signed. He got some kind of agreement down with the PBC, so that could put a buffer on it.
I never read that, but I seen someone. Obviously, I can't remember the name. Had said that Kowanaki had actually pulled out or was in the frame for the fight, and that's what the Hunter thing came about. But obviously, Trevor Bryan. Somebody mentioned that. That's a big no. I mean, Oscar Rivas too small. Povetkin have been there. Parker's called him out as well. I agree with us to a point with Ortiz, but I think at this point we can confirm that he's no. I think Wilder beat the absolute shit out of him, so there's not really much left there. I don't think the division is washed. It needs fucking a big score written through it, out of order, no longer fucking for viewing, because you're basically relying on Usyk, guys like Hergovich, who are maybe not ready. Well, I suppose Usyk might be ready, but he just didn't know with the size. Other than that, Caballero's not ready. Rivas too small, as it says. Del Boy's shot. Tony Yoka serving a ban.
Ivan Dyko has thrown his name in, Andy. He's exciting. He's a puncher. He beat AJ as an amateur, but he's not a name at all, and that won't wash.
That's the big bald Russian boy, eh? Yeah, possibly.
They couldn't sell that, could they?
Nah, I was thinking about that big Turkish guy I was watching the other week there. He'd jump at the chance, that big Demirezian, but as I say, he's a good output, decent mover, but
they'd put Shannon Briggs on before somebody like that. The thing is, I mean, I would have liked to have got a stateside view tonight. I know Hater Dave's working, he's in the chat and all that, but I'm not an authority on this stateside, but I have heard other podcasts talking about the Anthony Joshua effect, or lack thereof. The Americans aren't blown away by Joshua and his personality. Apparently Fury has been pretty well received over there. They like the cut of his jib, he seems to be well received on ESPN, and they're liking a bit of Fury. But as for Joshua, I think that Jarrell Miller and his shit talk was helping to carry this show to a certain degree. He wasn't necessarily just the B-side, and the Americans aren't bowled over at the moment. They're not jumping on board the Anthony Joshua train, so they do need somebody who's going to talk this up and be a decent opponent for him, because he's not carrying this show on his own stateside, from what I'm led to believe, Andy.
No, as it says, I mean, I've seen 2 videos a day on ESPN about Can Crawford, and Can's more well known and stuff. We all seen the kind of damage control that he did after Fury Wilder. Josh was in New York within like a fortnight of that fight happening, I think it was, and then he's on ESPN talking about how he doesn't need to fight Fury and Wilder and all that sort of stuff. But as you say, he's no well known. I mean, okay, I'll mention Chael Sonnen, for example. I don't know if he's trolling when he says this, but he said in the past that he says, I watch boxing and I do not know who Anthony Joshua is, but people are going on about this guy like he's fantastic. He sells stadiums in the UK. That's all great and well, but you got to do it when you're in America. You got to kind of conquer America and that. I mean, I think Joshua kind of deep down knows himself and that he wanted to bring the big fight to the UK. It couldn't happen, or they couldn't deliver it, right? Why do I need to go to America? I want the big fights in the UK. Well, you were quick enough bailing on the Wembley date in April to go and fight in America, and now you're left with egg in your face. I don't know. I mean, if he hadn't fucked White about, he could have had the rematch there, done and dusted. You could have waited and let Dickhead, juice himself and get cancer, and then we didn't need to deal with him again, Jarrell Miller, and then go straight to Tyson Fury after that. But I don't know.
Yes, this is the Midweek Pod special, everybody. Steve here alongside Ozzy and Andy. We'll be going for about another 5 minutes or so. So if you want to get your say in or get on the call, you better hurry the hell up. Americans are getting in touch with me in the chat. Banana Rama says he's in Florida. They like Fury, hate AJ. And Justin Dull says, no, we're not bowled over by him at all. There's no interest in Joshua over here, says Justin Dull. Ozzy, what's going on here? According to Sleep 99, he said it's a tough day because Lemieux has also pulled out the John Ryder fight as well.
I've been stacked all day, so that's the first I saw of it. But
yeah, I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, but apparently I've just done a quick Twitter search on his name, and he's got a hand injury. So
who's that?
Lemieux.
Oh, Lemieux. He's out
the Ryder fight.
Fuck's sake.
So I mean, bloody hell, that's a massive blow for John.
Fuck Lemieux, man. He should be out of chances now. That's injuries, weight pullouts. He's actually pulled out 2 fights that I can recall on weight issues. No, he's injured. Fucking hell.
Yeah, bloody hell. So, I mean, they're set to announce another co-main event, but bloody hell, who can it realistically be?
So is that John, though? Is John still fighting?
I'll try and find out now.
I would hope so. I'd like to think so.
That's a kick in the chucks, man, if that doesn't come off for him.
It is, yeah. The chat aren't happy either as well there. Really, says Johnny Blaze. Canelo undercard looking weak. Let's, final 5 minutes, guys. Let's have a quick chat about this Triple G situation. Then 6 fights on DAZN. He's getting 15-odd mil a fight, if reported to be believed, Andy. A couple of opponents were put forward. First of all, Brandon Adams. Who would have thought Brandon Adams would have been in such demand? The guy who was once knocked out, I believe, off the top of my head, by John Williams, who lost the WBO title shot to Liam Smith. I think I'm right in saying that. Anyway, Brandon Adams has been offered more money by the PBC to fight Charlo than he was Golovkin. So they got Hassan and Damian. At least he was a bit of a name. Wasn't too happy about that. But there you go. He's disappeared. We've got this guy, Sausage Rolls, Mr. 2 fights a year, Steve Rolls, 19-0 Canadian, Andy. Tell me all about Steve Rolls. He's 35 years of age. Do you know what he looks like? Do you know who he's ever beaten? What is he, white or black?
I have no idea, mate. When I saw it come through and stuff like that, and it said catch weight, is it 165 or something like that? I said, what's with the catch weight?
Are they going with the catch weight? I heard that, but I thought that was a troll.
I don't know, but give me his record. Who's on it? I have no idea. I've never seen him. What nationality is he even?
He's Canadian. He's fought Keandre Leatherwood, which is a familiar name, but it's not great. I mean, are they giving him a soft touch, Andy? Is this? Are they saying to us here that they're worried Golovkin might be slightly over the hill? They want to guarantee the Canelo match if Canelo gets past Jacobs. Canelo against Golovkin 3 towards the end of the year, and they don't want to take any chances with Golovkin. They're putting him in against a soft touch. Is that the thinking, do you reckon?
I don't know, mate. I mean, I think at this point in the career that Golovkin's obviously in charge yet. I mean, he's been offered all this money. I just don't know how this is sustainable. I mean, how the fuck are you going to be able to claim back 15 mil? Is it 15 mil a fight? Did you say, mate?
That's what I've read. Yeah, mate, it's remarkable money, isn't it?
As I mean, think about how the fuck are you going to pay? How are you going to pull in your money, 15 million, off this fight? How much over? How many fights? How much money?
They said 6 fights, but this is an investment. They're paying it forward, aren't they, to try and make a big chunk off the Canelo fight? You would imagine it's money up front, isn't it, to try and make some down the road and retain subscribers.
Possibly, mate. I really don't know. I mean, that middleweight division's absolute just awful. I mean, I don't know if Golovkin's going. I don't think he will make the move up to 168. I just think he's going to kind of float about. Kind of you say maybe wait for the Canelo fight. I don't know. Is Andrade in Hearn stable? I think, is that right?
And Andrade's in Herd stable, so he's also technically under the same DAZN banner. Although Golovkin obviously isn't signed to Hearn, but you would have liked to see him fight Andrade. Andrade's a man who does his own way, isn't he? We know he parties hard outside the ring. He's one of these. He's in the Andre Ward mold, but he's not as good. You know, he's one of these guys like, I'm going to manage my career myself. That's why he tried to get away from star boxing. That's why he ended up going over to Germany to fight Jack Kulkai. He's one of these. I'll do this my own way, even though he's clearly, to everybody, Andy, fucking his career up.
Yeah, but then you just don't know if he's getting paid. If he's getting paid properly, he's earning life-changing money with Eddie Hearn and that. You know,
what's he earning realistically fighting the likes of Artur Akavov?
$250,000.
Who's he fighting next? Wasn't it supposed to be Selecki? But then Selecki Selecki got an injury against Rosado, didn't he? Is Selecki Andrade even going ahead? Anybody in the chat? Let me know. Who knows, Andy? Who cares?
I see Jeff Warner up in weight as well. There, he's up at middleweight. You want to see that fight in Australia, for example? Take the show on the road, the retirement tour.
Go on then, Aussie. Breaking news. What's going on?
Well, the first John Ryder learnt of David Lemieux pulling out was 12 minutes ago when he saw it on a web story.
Ugh.
So that, considering Golden Boy are lining something up, it will be nice for the other half of the co-main event to be notified prior to something happening and the pullout of his actual opponent. So regardless of what Golden Boy say, I think we need to watch what goes on because I haven't got a clue. Because in my opinion, that they could try and chuck anybody in with him and he's well within his rights to say no, or I want an absolute fortune more. So we'll need to see, but it's just downright disrespectful, isn't it? Imagine you've got obviously two fighters in the co-main event. One of them pulls out and the other one finds out through a story on Boxing Scene or something like that. It's just disgusting. The piss take, and just shows there's no real respect there, is it? Or something like that. Don't you have the decency, to contact the fighter or his team, manager, promoter? Like I said, huge fight, massive opportunity on a big platform, and it's just gone.
Regarding Demetrius Andrade, by the way, I know everybody's desperate to hear about this. Selecki was apparently out originally, but now he's back in the running for a fight with Andrade. Andrade, meanwhile, has challenged Errol Spence to come up to 160 for a fight. He's also shit on Spence, he shit on Charlo, and he shit on Triple G. He does more talking outside of the ring, Andrade, than inside. He wants the big fights against the likes of Jacobs and Charlo and Triple G, but he doesn't want to put in the running and the hard work. Who's he ever beaten, Andrade, realistically? I mean, I wanted to see him fight Billy Joe Saunders. I was over in Boston anticipating that fight, and he ended up fighting against Walter Korkondokwa, a guy who we should have got rid of. He ended up going the 12 rounds with and made me miss the fucking tram home. This guy needs to sort him. There you go. He needs to sort himself out, Andy. Anyway, I don't know how we've ended up on this. Okay, so let's wrap it up then. Any Jarrell Miller, Triple G, anything you want, Andy? Final comments from you?
No disappointed. I'm a wee bit kind of happy at your rage, actually, but I just can't believe you were actually that wee bit pissed off at it. I know you were expecting. I really don't know what you were expecting, actually, but I wasn't even bothered about the fight. I dare say, like yourself, you probably accepted the fight for what it was, and I was just like, I went along with it. I was just like, nah. I was just, it is what it is, it's just a shit fucking fight, but...
It can only get worse, though. That's what's annoying me. It's only going to get worse now. I'd accepted Miller.
Well, it is going to get worse, but at the end of the day, put it this way, it's only going to get even worse because we know with the platform situation, we're not going to get Fury, we're not going to get Wilder anytime soon, even though they're going to obviously trade off each other's names over, future talks now, when they'll turn around and fight somebody else. So it's just disappointing, but it's to be expected from time to time, I suppose, that the fights you really want to see. For example, I wanted to see Billy Joe Saunders against Kurt Sudsey, and then he doesn't get done for drug testing. He gets done for like racketeering charges and fucking shit. It's just shit like that. But it's mostly like fucking drugs that kind of like fail fights that you want to see. But this was the money they made, so I'm not really overly pissed off about it.
Final comments from you, Ozzy. I've made my feelings known at the beginning of the pod, which anyone can go back and listen on iTunes or YouTube. You're going to talk me off the ledge, Ozzy, if they do bring in Hunter or Kovnacki or somebody?
I wouldn't be shocked at Kovnacki whatsoever. But seemingly from his manager, apparently they have other avenues and plans to explore. I think it's pointless in slating an opponent until somebody's brought in. However, people such as like Manuel Char shouldn't even be mentioned. That wouldn't last 30 seconds. That will be a complete waste of time. Other people. I don't know. I think we need to wait and see. Does Miller not have the right to request a B sample or something like that? Or I don't know what the situation is. Or if he's out, then the fight is curtains and it's essentially looking for a new one, but extremely disappointing. But the sport of boxing continues to produce essentially stories that you would never think of, and yet again, peds are rife in the sport.
Yep, unfortunately so. Thanks, Ozzy, for jumping on anyway. This midweek special. Also, thanks to you, Andy, as well. Miller Light, he's out the fight. The hunt is on for another opponent now, everybody. Let's see what Eddie comes up with. Thanks in the chat. Thanks on Twitter. We'll catch you all again on Sunday evening. I've been Steve Wellings. Goodbye.